I am again with my music. Do you like my music? Yes, you do. Okay. Okay. So, welcome. Last slot for today. Oliver will tell us something about live streaming at an Sub Inside track, and as you already know, we already did this thing, so it will be very interesting what we got. So, Oliver, it's your.
Yeah, it's very meta. Right? Streaming a session about live streaming an inside track at an inside track event. Yeah. Thanks to a couple of people coming in. It's better. So. Nice to see you, all of you. One thing I noticed is people stay in a room. I think most of you actually were all day here in this room. I didn't see many of you on the other side of the room, because that's where I stayed, streaming the other room. So I was all day over there and didn't get to see any of these sessions.
Who does it now?
Juliana, colleague from mine. I told her how to use OBS. But the good thing is, right, all these sessions are recorded, so I can watch them afterwards. So I quickly wanted to talk a little bit about what we are doing here with this live streaming, right? The live streaming of the Inside Track. And I had this idea, actually, maybe we should talk about it. Gregor and I, we had been in a little bit of conversations about this over the last couple of months. And yesterday evening, I saw a tweet from Gregor. He was asking for a cable. I said, dude, what are you doing there? And then we went on the phone, and actually he brought his streaming equipment, I brought my streaming equipment, and we didn't know of each other. So we came here and actually had 2 streaming sets, which we are able to use now in both rooms. So all of the event gets streamed and recorded, which is really, really nice and very unexpected from my side. So, right, again, I want to talk a little bit about how we're doing this here, because in the end it's not that hard, and maybe also spark a little bit of an idea what we can do with it. So, right, just overview of the inside tracks, because I think that is important. Last year, I looked into the wiki. We had 41 SAP inside tracks worldwide. Right, 41. That's quite a number. And 41 events where there were probably between, I don't know, 50, 100, sometimes for Waldorf, right, even more people coming to these events. And I estimated probably an average 10 or more sessions for each event. Right, here today we had what, 16 total, I assume, right? 8 or 7 in both rooms. And that's quite a number of sessions that actually get produced, right? Or not produced, because in the end, people stand here, do the session, and the people that are here, they can see it, right? And otherwise, they can't really participate. And I checked a little bit, because it's hard to figure out. Maybe there are 5 inside tracks that actually do live streaming. I know Gregor is doing that from Munich. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think Hanover does it.
Don't know.
I think I found some Hamburg, right? Berlin. I'm doing the inside track in Berlin.
I did Vienna.
Yeah. So maybe something like that. But there's still a huge number of inside tracks that are not being live streamed. Right? And I can say at least one was fully recorded, and that is the inside track Berlin, where we have all the sessions on YouTube, where they can be watched afterwards. Right. So, but I think there's still a little bit of potential, and maybe I can help with that, and Gregor too, with sharing how we actually do it, because then other organizers of inside tracks can basically apply that practice and use it for their own inside track. So at Inside Track Berlin, we have a single track where we have max 8 sessions. That we only have a single track is mostly due to the location that we have, because it's not very big. There's not a second room that we actually could use. But I like it a lot because there's a situation, right, where you just in a networking break and you meet another guy and you say, did you see the session? It was really good. He said, no, I was in the other room. And then the conversation stops, right, because they weren't able to see it. So it's actually quite nice to have only a single room, a single track where the sessions are being recorded, where the sessions happen. For the live streaming, what we are using is YouTube, right, because it works. Twitch can also work, but YouTube is really working well. So the stream that we are producing here, it's live on YouTube. You can go to the YouTube page and you can see there basically what you see. Right, you see the slide. You see a little bit around it. I actually don't have a screenshot with it, but you have to imagine, right? There's sort of an image and there's a picture in picture, right? Or look at Gregor's screen. That's what actually is being live streamed. For Berlin, we had the full event live stream, so there was just a single camera in the background, and that just ran 8 hours or so. So at any point in time, you could look in and basically see either the session happening or people running around in the networking breaks, and it was quite funny. And all the recordings are available on YouTube. So if you search for SIT Berlin or SAP Inside Track Berlin on YouTube, you find our account, and there are basically 2 playlists, one from 2017 and one from 2018, and there are all the sessions. And I want to go a little bit through the sort of how was the initial setup, and what did we learn, how did we improve, and how do we think we can even further improve that. So for 2017, we did the first Inside Track in Berlin, 2017, and I had this idea. I came up with that idea sort of a week before the event actually started, and it was sort of, how can I make that work? Right, really. It's researching online and see, right, it must be simple. I mean, hundreds of thousands of YouTubers are doing it, right? It can't be that hard. And I found this software, OBS, Open Broadcaster Software. It's actually open source. And that software basically does most of the work. Right? It actually does image composition or video stream composition. So it takes one or more stream inputs, video stream inputs, and you can compose them on a single page. You can say, for example, that camera, I put that top left, and that's the speaker. And then the laptop where the presentation is running, that goes out here. That's another stream. And then you have a picture in the background, and you compose it on that picture. And that's what OBS does. And then it generates out of that again a stream that you then can live stream to Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, basically all the video streaming platforms. That's what the software does. And it's sometimes it feels from the UI a little bit like SAP software. It's open source, and it's sort of a little clunky, and you need to get used to it. And I just had one moment where, I don't know, I just moved the camera and suddenly the video was gone. And I was just, shit. And then you try, there's a button, restart the device, and you click on it and it doesn't do it. And I just, shit, close the OBS, I just closed it, opened it, and the video was running again, right? So sometimes reboot tut gut, always works, right? It's solid practice that has been very good over years. Again, a single camera that we had in the background. So we let it run. We didn't have this full live stream all the time. So my girlfriend supported me there, so we were sort of starting and stopping, and it was really getting that stuff together last minute. The event started like 9 o'clock in the morning, and 8:45 I was still sitting there and trying to get that thing working because it was a little bit frickle, but in the end it worked out quite well. So, and then I had these, I basically only did the streaming to YouTube. I didn't record anything locally on the hard drive. So, and then I was, okay, now there were no titles or anything. It was just, right, the camera. There was nothing that would explain who is talking or what are they talking about. So I had to do, actually, I think it felt like a couple of days post-production in iMovie, where I created these the subtitles and some little animation. If you watch it afterwards, 2007, it's just post-production where I put the titles in, and it was a lot of work which I thought it's necessary. It can be probably done better. We had audio issues. Suddenly the audio was gone on the stream, and we didn't know why, or we didn't even figure out. And it was like, I think half an hour there was no audio, and then somebody on Twitter said, I think you're missing the audio. And right, again, trying to figure that out. And what we noticed, the slides were really hard to read, because what we had in Berlin is big screen, like 8-inch or something, right? It's monstrous. I've never seen that before. It's really a huge screen. But if you have slides with a white background and black text, and then you put a camera on it, right? The contrast, you just can't read anything, right? It's really, really hard to read. So, right, it was just a single video stream with, right, the guy standing there and the big monitor next to him, and then with the lightning, it worked okay, but there was definitely plenty of room for improvement. So after hours at Berlin, we usually sit down and do a small retrospective, and we just write out all the stuff down that worked and that didn't work, and what we want to do next time better, or what we should stop doing, right? Because it's that helps, by the way, a lot if you organize an Inside Track, do a retrospective. It's really good. It's a good practice, because you come back like 9 months later, and then you try to remember what worked and what didn't work, and right, it's empty. So next year, we came back. I started a little bit earlier with the whole setup and thinking about how it can be improved. We had the same camera and background. So my girlfriend is working for Deutsche Welle, and she's a video journalist. So I had the benefit of her bringing a big, really professional camera with HD, optical zoom and everything, right? And I had somebody who actually knows how to use that thing. So she was standing there with a tripod and just really making sure the presenter is always in focus. We improved in the sense that we said, okay, we need to make sure the slides are much better to read. And if you look online for these conference recordings, it's quite obvious. You have picture in picture, right? You have the actual presentation from the laptop, and then you have somewhere a smaller picture where the presenter is. So I thought, can't be that hard. So I bought an HDMI splitter at Konrad, cost about 60 euros, an active one. That's important, right? So you need to have.
Mine was 20 at Amazon.
I have an active one. I just want to be on the safe side. I just want to be on the safe side. I trust Konrad. It's around the corner where I live. So I went there and I said, "Here, take the active one." And I'm doing fine with that. So that HDMI splitter is basically making sure that the video comes out here and it's being split, and one goes to the beamer and one goes into the machine.
Yeah.
So with that, now we can compose that and actually make it a really nice video.
But I think you forgot the most important
Yeah,
parts.
I'm coming to that.
Okay.
Don't worry, I mean, have some time to fill, okay?
Now we can do so they can learn here.
Yeah. And I created scenes in OBS. So in scenes, you have now, right, it's image composition or screen composition in real time. But you can have multiple scenes. So Gregor can switch now between a right, a big presentation and a small me, or a small presentation and a big me, right? So that camera is now taking the big part. And you do that just live in real time, and you just switch the scenes, and it does small fades, right? And so it looks really professional. And actually, I did sort of the background image, right? And Gregor and I, now we only have a single background image, but I did, like, for each session, I did an extra image because I wanted to have the title of the session and the speaker. Only afterwards I figured out you can all do that in OBS in real time. We still had problems. So I have an SAP laptop, and there's that shitty McAfee virus scanner. I'm sitting there Saturday morning, like 8:45 again, right? And oh, everything is working. And I start the stream, and like 2 pictures per second. Right? 2 pictures per second. I said, shit, what is going on? I didn't realize it was a shitty McAfee virus scan that was running in the background. And as soon as you just record in big amounts of data onto the hard disk, that thing thinks, oh, I need to check all of that stuff. And it goes really into working mode. And OBS is not it is a quite CPU intensive application, right? It doesn't need to have all the composition in real time. So at that point in time, I was so stressed out. I said, shit, I'm not going to record. I just let it stream. But because we had that continuous stream, we basically just streamed the whole 8 hours. So in the end, I had to go to YouTube, download all that stuff, and then chuck it up into the small sessions. But this time, because I had the scenes and all the presenters and the titles, there was not that huge amount of post-production that I still had to do. Right? So I was basically just cutting it up and doing a little bit of fade in, fade out at the end with a small title, so it looks good. Uploaded it all to YouTube. Worked fine. Still, the audio is not good. So here, me speaking loud, we need to talk. Me speaking loud, you're completely fine hearing me. If you have a larger room, maybe you have a room audio system, and then you have a microphone. So that's what we have in Berlin. And so you don't have to shout that much. So you have that room audio. But now you have that camera in the background, and it has to pick up all the audio, and then it gets all the background noise. And it is okay, but we want to be really good with that stuff, so there's room for improvement. All right. Next time we want to see that we can directly connect to the room audio system and pick up that audio that the speaker has and is speaking into the microphone, and then maybe we get a little bit of ambient noise in the background and see that we still get the atmosphere of the room. Right.
Then you also need microphones for the questions.
Yeah,
that should also be recorded, or the speaker must be reminded to repeat it.
Yeah. I played yesterday, so I'm originally, why am I here? RuhrPOTT. I'm actually living in Berlin. I was born in Van Eyck, so I'm from the very center of the RuhrPOTT. And the people that are from this area, they know what I'm talking about. And so my brother is a sound engineer. And I was playing these videos, and he said, "Oh, it's really nice, but the sound is shit." He said, "Yeah, I know." I know. So we need to fix that. But in the end, it worked out quite well.
So it becomes a family business.
Yeah,
you can travel around with sitPOTT.
Come on, vitamin B, right? You know, potassium. You need to have that. Otherwise, you don't get anything done in life. So what is the current technical setup? So how does it work, right? In a little bit more detail. The open broadcaster software. My nephew actually yesterday showed me, oh, you should use that software. It's called something different, and it's just Windows only. He said that might work better. I'm a Mac guy. I don't use Windows. But the open broadcast software is really good. It has, because it's open source, they have a plugin system. And there's plenty of open source plugins which extend it, which I just I set up again yesterday something additional. But with a whole open source ecosystem that is around OBS, and the software is constantly improving. A couple of days ago, I installed an update and a couple new features. Was really nice. That's really the center, right? And sitting here on the machine in the middle. We have the Blackmagic, fantastic name, Blackmagic Ultra Studio Mini Recorder. And that's solving a problem, because how do you get an HDMI stream into the computer? Right? Usually you only get it out. You plug the computer onto a big screen, onto a big monitor. That's fine, but I was saying, how do I get it actually into the computer? And that's Blackmagic. And that's the thing. It's a HDMI to Thunderbolt converter. Right? It's a bit expensive, 150 euros, but it does a fantastic job. And in the end, it does full HD. I think they now have a 4K version, but nobody needs that.
You say it now.
Yeah, we talk again next year. So it takes HDMI, including sound, right? So it's really, really good. Right? And we have the HDMI splitter. So in the end, right, here's a presenter with his laptop, and we want to get it on the beamer. So we send it to the HDMI splitter. The splitter sends it to the beamer and to the streaming laptop. Then we need a camera. And the camera, Gregor is using here a webcam, Logitech Cult Size HD. So it's quite good.
20 euros.
Yeah. I have a little bit more expensive model, but it's multifunctional because it's my iPhone. Yeah. And right, because OBS is open source and they have plugins, there is an iPhone app that's called OBS Camera, and it has a plugin. And then you install the plugin into OBS and you start the iPhone app, and then preferred way, I tried it yesterday via network, but I didn't get it to run. You take a Lightning to USB-C directly into the computer, super low latency, fantastic camera, right? Really, I mean, it's an iPhone 10 that I have with this, right, slightly optical zoom. And I'm using that camera now for my room B, where we do the streaming. That's here. So into the computer, one video stream from the presenter machine, another from the camera, and then we have these OBS templates. That's they can include the scene description and the background images. So you do all the work, right, to see what you actually need then in the end and how it should look like. And yeah, of course, I need a YouTube account. And the tripod, I just added it to the slides because what's the name of the lady from Basis? She borrowed me her tripod. So now I have the iPhone on the tripod, and it's much more solid because you have it on this height. Now it's on the same level as the speaker face, and you don't have to look up. Oh, it's always bad.
And only, by the way, the wire is 55 euro. It's only available by app.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
So this.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's 2 meters.
Yeah, but for this setup, it's a one-time purchase, right? And you can use it every single time for an inside track. And so that's the technical setup. And yeah, of course, there's some cost associated with that. So that's free, 150, between 20 and 60, depending on what you expect. Hopefully you have some iPhone. I haven't found the software for Android. I'm not sure if that exists.
I just checked. No.
For Berlin, again, we have the camera at the back of the room. So I bought a 20-meter HDMI, an active HDMI cable. And it was pricey. Tripod helps. Yeah, and the YouTube account you get for free. So the point is, actually, it's not that hard to do this, to set this up. Right? We have now.
Do you have something to talk about connectivity?
What do you mean?
So how, to bring it to the internet?
Yeah, YouTube.
Yeah,
But how?
But how?
do you use the Wi-Fi? Do you use wired connection?
I'm on Wi-Fi.
Yeah. And I'm just on my mobile phone.
Yeah.
I have LTE Plus here, and up till now we used 4 gigs.
What is the encoding that you have set up?
It's about 260K per second.
Yeah.
2,600.
Right. We're living in the 21st century. Come on. That should be possible, right? To have a bandwidth to stream an HDMI, full HD stream into the internet. So that hasn't been a problem yet. My stream is running on around 16, 17 frames per second.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so I'm not sure what this yours says. You have 30?
Yeah. But that for us in Munich it was an issue because we were in the cellar. The Wi-Fi was just used by all the normal users.
Yeah.
So check that before. Check your location. The best is a wired pure internet connection. That's difficult at corporate locations. Otherwise, just try. Vodafone has this. If you have a Vodafone contract, you get 100 gigs a month for 24 hours.
Gregor, stop talking. I don't have time. Sorry, I'm just looking at the watch. So, right now, next steps, right? Okay, that stuff is working. We just proved it. We went here. We have 2 setups. We are streaming live, right? He's doing it with 30 frames per second. I only with 15. Okay. Still, how can we scale that? How can we scale that? Right. So, the easy thing is just invite Gregor to each single inside track. Or me. But I think you're more crazy than I am, so you're probably right. Of course, this session here, right? I'm doing this because I want to get the word out and I want to encourage other organizers of inside tracks. Just do it. It's not that hard. I see there's plenty of sponsors, right? Inside tracks are getting sponsors for the events. Just price an additional 300 euros to get a one-time purchase and get the hardware in place. And then you can use it for the next couple of years. I don't think that's hard, right? It's still an enterprise community, right? The sponsors, I think they can buckle up. That's okay. And of course, what Gregor and I need to do is basically share the whole setup, right? And we need to, I don't know, write a blog post about it. I think even a wiki or a GitHub page might be even better, right?
I did already one video where I showed my hardware.
Yeah, but we need more. Right? We need to have some kind of how-to guide, right? How to do this. What is this stuff? Right? Just Amazon links, right? buy this, plug it in, get it running. It's really easy, right? It's not really that hard. So now, let's assume we now suddenly get inside tracks that have live streaming. And in the end, it's being live recorded.
No one comes to a sit anymore. One sitting.
Oh, come on. Is the experience here stellar better than online? Yeah, okay. I don't think that's the question, right? It's the whole atmosphere here, right? It's being here in presence that makes this a special event. But now that we make it easy to actually create these streams, these recordings, and it is already easy to publish them, right? Use YouTube, use Twitch, whatever. What is hard, let's assume we have now these, I said in the beginning, it's 40 inside tracks last year, 10, 15 sessions per inside track. That's like 500 sessions. If they all would have been recorded, would have an amazing amount of knowledge content, right? People talking about all the various things. That's like 2 TechEds in a single year. Or I think TechEd has around 400 or 500
decided
sessions.
to put it to YouTube? Is there any deeper reason, or?
No, it's easy. It works.
Yeah, was laziness.
That's it. And then now he's losing his stream.
The stream was just cut.
You're recording on a hard disk, right?
Yes.
Good. You have a backup, right? Good. So, right. Let's assume now we have this content. Maybe next year it's 10 inside tracks, and maybe the year afterwards it's 20. Right? And we are just doing this now. We're starting to. Inside tracks have been there for 10 years. So now let's get it right. Let's get inside track out of that room and really share that content with the rest of the people. Then we have to make it easy to find. And I don't think it's really hard, right? So if everybody just sticks with YouTube, there will be now 10, 20 YouTube accounts with just URLs that point to a recording. Right? Let's start with a GitHub repository, whatever. Just create a JSON and just sit, title, speaker, URL. Put into a JSON file, put it to a URL endpoint, so anybody just can call there and get the JSON. And then we are playing around to network with static site rendering, with headless CMS, right? And the Jamstack approach, right? HTML, CSS, JSON, mixing all together, creating static sites and putting it on Amazon S3. So if there's just JSON files in GitHub, now we can just compose web pages out of that and just have a single entry point where you just go and you have all these recordings, right? And then you put a search on it and share the message. And suddenly, over time, we get, I think, an amazing repository of really, really good content. Right? There's so many really high valuable content here at the Inside Tracks that it's, right, it's not hard. That's my point, right? We just need to do it. It's a solved problem. It's easy.
Yes.
Yeah? And so it's really, my point is, right, let's take this idea, right, let's move it further. I think Gregor and I, we were going to start, right? We'll make the first steps, and when we show up at a couple of other Inside Tracks and bring our equipment and start more streaming and more recording. And we will further improve the quality of the recordings, and we build up a repository, and in the beginning it will be spread out over multiple YouTube accounts, right? So it's more distributed repository, and then we need to think about how we can bring it together and make it searchable. But we are all techies. We know how to do that stuff. It's not like we're in marketing or so, right? We're just, it's an unsolvable problem. I don't know how to do that.
I need an agency.
Yeah, that's consulting. We need more consulting. So that's in the end my point, right? I think that's it. That's what I wanted to share here, right? Thank you very much. Except I can't let you go without making you aware. Also this year there will be a Inside Track in Berlin. My date is 31st of August. It's not the IFA week, so hotel prices are reasonable. If you have content, if you want to show up there as a speaker, send us an email, sitberlin@sitPOTT.com. I'm working there with a really cool colleague of mine who's doing a lot of the event organization. Registration will be open soon. And all the recordings from the last 3 years are on YouTube. Last year we had really cool stuff with white hat security hackers, ABAP, machine learning, Kubernetes. There are 2 really cool sessions on Kubernetes. All of that stuff is live 2017, and we actually had the original organizer of Inside Tracks, Darren Hake, there talking about his learnings with AI. So all of that stuff is available, and would love to see you in Berlin. Now that's it. That's my session. Thank you.
Yeah, if you want to check out
Questions?
Yeah.
Questions? Yes.
Can you find a way to get these video files hosted on the SCN rather than YouTube?
What do you mean with hosted?
why.
There has to be a web server where
YouTube is
these
fine.
files reside.
YouTube is
Just put the
fine.
URL on the phone.
What is wrong with YouTube?
I don't precisely know about the rights you're granting YouTube by storing videos there.
Yeah, me personally, I'm beyond that. I don't care anymore. Right? I don't care. Right? It's just building up barriers in front of making content accessible.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Won't all of this be restricted if Article 13 is out?
You have all signed a paper, Article 13. What, do we play music? Or what do you mean? But to block what?
It's for every type of content creation.
No, it's for copyright
Yeah.
protected content.
Yeah, it needs to be filtered. So
You let them filter it. I mean, I don't care. There's no copyright protected content in here.
there is not yet a filter that's capable of doing it.
But that's not my problem. I mean, we know it's not going to work, right? We are nerds enough to understand that machine learning simply does not work yet. Right? Politicians think about that works, but
Really?
we know it doesn't.
Really doesn't work?
My kids even know now that it doesn't work. I just tell it to them every single time.
And anyway, I would ask, so when you present something, you should have checked your copyright on pictures and everything.
Yeah.
So it should be yours or it should be free to use.
Yeah. Be careful with using Game of Thrones images in your presentations. Right? Maybe it's not a good idea.
But
Other
the
questions?
problem of the presentation, not of
Yeah,
the
of course,
airport.
of course.
Most general.
Other questions?
So Hamburg is trying to broadcast since years, or let's say 3 or 4 years, and we always were struggling with the internet connections. One time at the 25 Hours Hotel, we had the Wi-Fi from the hotel which broke down. Yeah, and this is a really a problem.
Because I think that's a solved problem.
In Germany also.
You just need to invest into the infrastructure.
Yeah, but it's a good idea to have that Vodafone thing too, but
Yeah.
really.
Yeah. And there is
Independent
also this
also.
Vodafone home thing which you can get for a month and bring
Yeah.
it back.
You can
Ah,
get
okay, yeah.
you can get LTE hotspots and stuff like that.
Yeah,
It's
but
a safe
even
program, yeah.
LTE is sometimes a problem.
Yeah.
Depends on the room where you
Not
are.
here.
Even if the room, yeah.
Last question?
Is it possible to ask questions in the chat? And then they will replace
I
it?
didn't monitor that today.
Okay.
I did, so there were a couple of things. You asked a question.
No.
I did something. I did a word in there.
No.
I saw a chat message from you in the sitPOTT. Really? No?
Ich habe gefragt, glaube ich.
It was you?
Ja.
From his machine?
No,
Okay, good. Yeah, it's possible. You have in YouTube, you have chat functionality, but I haven't seen it, haven't used it much yet. Yeah. Okay, cool. The guys want to finish up.
Yes. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I leave that running, so.
Yeah.